Hi, my name is Reed Silverne. The name of this show is Fed Pride. Reason it's called Fed Pride is because I'm a federal worker and proud of it. Today I'm going to talk about a number of things. For you, you're probably going to be seeing this on Tuesday. For me, it's Friday the 13th of July, otherwise known as Friday the 13th. And for me, that's a good number. For other people, a lot of people are worried about it. I've never had a problem with it. So what am I going to talk about today? First thing, what I'm not going to go into a lot of detail on, what other people are, is there's been a big vote in the House of Representatives. I don't have the article in front of me because I didn't even pull it. Basically, the Democrats won 221 to 203 to pull our troops, to begin pulling our troops out in September, and of our troops pulled out of Iraq by April. This particular vote doesn't come anywhere near the veto-proof majority. Senate's probably not going to pass anything just like it, and they probably won't even be able to get to debate it because it takes 60 votes for cloture. The Republicans are pretty much sticking with the president, at least not to have a definite pullout date, although a lot of Republicans, especially ones up for re-election next in 2008, want to get out of Iraq or want to do something about it. My own feeling about it, and I'm going to try to be brief about this, but I'm going to put myself on record, and that and $2.95 will buy you a cup of coffee, the way it is, at least latte, which means that my 2 cents is not worth a lot. But basically, I feel that we were not fighting a war until Rumsfeld was fired. All Rumsfeld wanted to do was to prove his theory that wars don't take a lot of troops, and he was wrong. He was dead wrong. Every single time we made a gain, every single time we won a battle, he proceeded to very precipitously pull troops out of that particular theater. We won the Second Battle of Fallujah with tremendous trouble. Went in there after giving away Fallujah and Anbar province to Al-Qaeda in Iraq. I believe it was between September and November of 2004, we went back and basically leveled the city of Fallujah one by one. We needed to do that in every city that Al-Qaeda was in. Zarqawi got away, but we basically made a lot of progress and then moved on to Ramadi. Rumsfeld proceeded to pull troops out of Anbar province, and that particular advantage was destroyed. Al-Zarqawi went to Mosul, and that's when the sectarian killings where 100 or 150 or 200 Muslims would have their throats slit and be thrown into the streets day by day by day. By the time, I believe it was September of 2005, Al-Zarqawi blew up the holy mosque in Samarra, the Golden Mosque, and the Golden Dome Mosque, and started the sectarian war that we're in the middle of right now in Iraq. So what to do about it? There was another gain about a year later in Tel Afar, where the local Turkomans and some other groups joined up with the Americans and kicked Al-Qaeda out of that city. That city was right near the border of Syria and was the contact and collection point for the suicide bombers that were coming in from the rest of the world, the rest of the Muslim world. They kicked out Al-Qaeda, and we did nothing. We actually pulled our troops out of Tel Afar and let them back in. And that was what was done during the Rumsfeld era. Rumsfeld, Abu Zaid, Sanchez, most incompetent military group we have ever had in charge of a war, in my opinion, in the entire history of the United States. We've had some pretty incompetent war leaders, for instance, in the War of 1812, but Rumsfeld and his crew take the cake. Since then, Gates has replaced Rumsfeld after the 2006 election. And then he, step by step, threw out each member of the high command that was running that war. So eventually Sanchez, they got rid of Sanchez, they got rid of Abizayed, they put Petraeus in there. Petraeus really does know how to improve. We'll find out if he knows how to win, but at least have a strategy to win in Iraq that Rumsfeld did not even try to put together, because Rumsfeld was trying to prove that you don't need troops to win a war. Petraeus immediately realized you do. That's what the surge was all about. There's a lot of controversy over that. The surge is on right now. We're up to the 160,000 troops, a lot less than the previous pre-Rumsfeld chief of staff, Shinseki, wanted. He wanted 300,000. But the fact of the matter is we only have 550,000 soldiers in the Army, and we have about another 190,000 or 180,000 Marines. So we only have less than 750,000 fighting troops that we can put in there, plus reservists and so on and so forth, but active duty. So what's the solution? The first solution, I talked about this, I don't know, about 4 or 5 months ago when I first became aware of it, is to turn Sunni against Sunni. So to recognize that our enemy is not all the Sunnis, it's not even all the insurgents, it's Al-Qaeda. And Al-Qaeda are the people that blew up the Twin Towers. Al-Qaeda are the people that killed 3,000 Americans. And Al-Qaeda is the group that we need to defeat if we're going to get out of Iraq. We can't leave Iraq under Al-Qaeda control. We can't give them a free area to have training camps the way we had when they controlled Afghanistan under the Taliban. So that's clear. We've made some progress. We overthrew the Taliban the year before we went into Iraq in the first place. Just recently, and I've talked about this, we overthrew a Taliban-like government that was backed by Al-Qaeda. That's this Islamic court organization in Somalia. We brought in an army of Ethiopians. They are fighting back, and they're having an insurgency. But an insurgency run by Al-Qaeda is a lot better than having a government run by Al-Qaeda, and a government that might have been accepted as a member of the UN, the full government, fully recognized government. So that was an improvement. There's no doubt about it. And they had to run to Kenya and so on and so forth. Now they're in Lebanon. The Lebanese army is fighting them. Lebanese army, I have an article over here about it. They won the first battle of the Palestinian camp that Al-Qaeda took over. And the Al-Qaeda group is actually called Fatah al-Islam. And even though they claim to be Palestinians, they're really from all over the place. And they fought fiercely. They had some strongholds right outside of the camps, or the edge of the camp, and the Lebanese army beat them. And now they've withdrawn into the middle of the camp. They haven't escaped in order to get out, which is good. And the Lebanese army is pounding them with artillery and is threatening to go in there and destroy, basically, a Palestinian camp. So that's another blow, if it succeeds, against Al-Qaeda. So Petraeus got this philosophy that the Sunnis want us out, and that we will only leave if Al-Qaeda is denuded over there. And sure enough, a lot of the sheikhs got together, turned against Al-Qaeda, joined a group connected with the Sunnis in the parliament, and Al-Qaeda started blowing them up and lost a lot of support among the Sunnis. They started blowing up, the Al-Qaeda in Iraq started blowing up Sunni mosques, as they've already shown that they're willing to blow up Shiite mosques, and started slitting people's throats and so on and so forth right in the middle of the Sunni area. Every single time they did that, they made another enemy of another tribe. So the tribes are sick of them. Al-Qaeda is virtually out of Fallujah. Al-Qaeda is virtually out of Ramadi. Al-Qaeda is very weak right now in Al-Anbar, even though they're still able to bring in the suicide bombers. So they went into Baghdad, and then Petraeus got this idea of doing the surge and building small forts all over the city of Baghdad with American and Iraqi troops in it, and trying to secure Baghdad. What was wrong with Baghdad? Al-Sadr, the pro-Iranian radical on the Shiite side, Al-Qaeda in Iraq on the Sunni side, started grabbing people in the street, slitting each other's throats, blowing up mosques, and just doing horrendous things to a lot of people. And lots and lots of car bombs. And it was up to 200, 300, 400 a day being killed in Baghdad. That's down somewhat. We're having trouble securing the Shiite area now, because if there's peace in Baghdad, that makes al-Sadr weaker in relation to his Shiite opposition, who is al-Sistani, who's the #1 Ayatollah in Iraq that he tried to displace, and in the battle of second battle of Najaf. And also the government. The government is a Shiite government under al-Maliki. So the stronger the government gets, the weaker he gets. And even though at first, at the beginning of the surge, he agreed to stop sectarian killings, they've started up a little bit, but they're not as bad as they were. So what happened then? Al-Qaeda moved to the province due north of Baghdad called Diyala province, and that is a province between the Kurdish area, and Kurds have always supported the West, and the Shiite area, and tried to disrupt that particular supply line. So there's big battles right now, and a couple of them have been won, and in that Diyala province, they've also gone into the Triangle Death, which is due south of Baghdad. In fact, we're going to take a look at where these places are right now, because I am going to go to Baghdad. Okay. Okay, here's Iraq right here. Let me see if I can, looks like I'm off the screen a little bit. Gonna turn it a little better. Okay, here's Iraq over here. This is Anbar province right over here. Tel Afar was right here. Ramadi's over here. Fallujah's over here. Baghdad is over here. And Al-Qaeda has now been concentrating north and south of Baghdad. Is greatly weakened within Baghdad proper. So what happens then? Now, the other side of it, there's 18 benchmarks, and of these 18 benchmarks, they only passed 8, and the 8 had to do with mostly what's going on in Anbar province over here. The problem is that in order to get this thing going, the new constitution that we kind of forced and foisted on the Iraqis said that there would be 3 regions, a Kurdish region up here, Al Anbar, and possibly parts of Suleiman and Diyala would be the Sunni area, and then the whole rest of it, the most populous area over here, would be Shiite. And each would get its own police force, each one would get its own legislature, and although there'd be a national army, and each one would get the oil revenues that were there, although there had to be an oil revenue sharing. That has completely failed. The Shiites do not want to share the oil revenue with the Sunnis, and if they could get that political step, there'd be a chance for reconciliation and for the Sunni advances against al-Qaeda over here to take root. They thought they were going to get a fair deal. Why should they give them a fair deal after Saddam, who was a Sunni in power, killed 100,000, possibly as many as 200,000 Shiites? No real reason. So anyway, all I can say is I can understand the American people are sick of this. They're sick of a strategy where we went in 2003, 2007. We're still bogged down there. And a lot of that is due to the unwillingness of a certain individual to fight to win. Rumsfeld did not want to fight to win. He wanted to prove his theory of low troop, high-tech war. That theory is false. It's been proven to be false. And just about all, Gates has kicked out, humiliated, and thrown out almost everybody who was pro-Rumsfeld and pro-transition out of the Pentagon. So all I can say is they've only been in charge for under a year. Give them a chance to win. And I don't think that's going to get anywhere. I think it's going to fall on deaf ears. There's no doubt about it. Democrats were elected to get us out of Iraq, and winning was not part of the deal. And I understand that. And the Democrats are going to have to support the people that voted for them. But I personally think that we can at least not lose this war. The approach is, A, turn the Sunnis against al-Qaeda. Al-Qaeda hates the Shiites, wants to murder them all, so they're already against them. Get an Iraq that may be pro-Iranian, but is not al-Qaeda, and get out. So that's my 3 cents, and I admit I took up most of my time. That I wanted to talk about 2 of the subjects I've been very big on. Why do I think that the Iraq story is not the big story? The reason is because we are facing a new Cold War, in my opinion, and that new Cold War are Petro powers, powers that are driven by high oil prices that are using our money to destroy us. And who's in charge of it? Well, I think the most difficult and the most challenging and the one that's, I think, least appreciated by our government is Hugo Chavez. Hugo Chavez is an old-time Fidelista. He's very, very smart. He's very, very patient. It took him 10 years to take over Venezuela completely and rule by decree. His last couple actions have taken over very, very popular TV stations that run the country's most favorite soap operas. Soap operas are the culture, or a key part of the culture of Latin America, but Venezuela in particular. So they're very well known for producing very good ones. And by destroying the media, he's basically taken over the last vestige of private industry and lack of control within the country. He is an old-time Fidelista. He's an old-time, he calls himself a populist, but he's really a communist, and he's imposing a communist government. He already has satellites. He already sponsored a person to run for president in Ecuador, the second largest oil exporting country in South America. That guy named Correa has already suspended his parliament, put the army around it throughout the opposition, and is going for a referendum to change the Constitution. A year ago, he sponsored Morales over here in Bolivia. Bolivia has since nationalized the natural gas industry, very upsetting the Bolivians. Is now nationalizing the tin industry, and Consolidating Power has already had a referendum, gotten rid of the Constitution, and replaced it with his own rule, although he hasn't gotten to the point where he's completely ruling by decree, supposed by one of the important governors. Then there's, of course, Putin. And Putin is running a resurgent Russia. Here's Russia right here. Here's Moscow, St. Petersburg. And Russia's come back. Russia now controls half the crude oil sold to Europe, to the European Union. Half of the natural gas, and natural gas is the cleanest burning and most, what can I say, anti-global warming material to use to produce electricity. Outside of, I guess, solar energy or wind power. And he controls at least a quarter of their crude oil. And he has a bunch of pipelines coming through. We've talked about that in detail. And he is now the largest oil exporter in the world, larger than any OPEC country, larger than Saudi Arabia, although Saudi Arabia does have capacity to increase their production. And Europe is dependent on Russia now. And there's been kind of a war of words around what route to take for the natural gas from Kazakhstan and Tajikistan, these other stands over here, and across the Caspian Sea. We were hoping for one across to Azerbaijan, through Georgia down to Turkey, and then into the Mediterranean. And the Russians have hoped for one that goes through Russia, of course. So Russia seems to be winning that fight, and they've become very, very rich. The government has personally taken over the oil industry, thrown the head of the previous head of the privatized oil industry, Khodakov, in jail, and taken over Yukos Oil. And now Gazprom, also the biggest oil producer in Russia and probably the largest in the world right now, has concentrated that. I have an article over here that Putin is going the next step, and the next step is to concentrate the arms industry. Putin has been selling arms to Hugo Chavez, $2.4 billion, to India, China, so on and so forth. He's basically, in February of 2007, declared a new Cold War. He's very upset about our plan to put anti-missile missiles into Poland and a radar into Czechoslovakia. Here's Poland. Here's Czech. It's not Czechoslovakia anymore. It's Czech Republic. And he's feeling his oats. Now, very interesting thing. First of all, the largest car company in Russia, the largest arms manufacturer, the manufacturer that makes Kalashnikovs, the manufacturer that makes Russian planes and so on and so forth, fighters and jets and cargo planes, all getting together into one big company. And that company is not going to have government oversight like our defense industry has from our government. It's going to be personally overseen by the president of Russia himself. And that president is Putin. However, Putin is not planning at this point to run for president of Russia again. They have elections. They're going to have a parliamentary election in December, and in March there's going to be a presidential election. However, now that Putin has taken over all the independent media, or at least the independent media that anybody watches, the television, the radio, and all the large newspapers and magazines are now controlled by the government, and basically putting out propaganda on behalf of Putin's party. And so Russia is turning into a democracy in the sense that Mexico was when it was under the PRI, where, yes, there's an election, yes, there's an opposition, yes, he runs against these other people, so that people have no access to the press, no access to money, no access to the TV stations, no access to ads, basically. The ruling party has control of all of those things. It still runs a free and fair election, except that it's free, but it's not fair. So basically in Mexico at that time, the previous president would appoint his successor. And we are now waiting for Putin to appoint his successor. Putin is not planning to run for a third term. And the two candidates are Ivanov, who's head of the National Security Council there, a guy named Medvedev. There's two factions within the Kremlin, and so the Kremlinologists are back in on it, as to who is going to be the successor. And also, there's always the possibility that these people have their own factions, Ivanov and Medvedev, and Putin may just surprise everybody with a surprise pick who owes only Putin himself. So that's going to be very interesting. We're going to see what happens. My name is Reed Silverne. Name of the show is Fed Pride. Reason it's called Fed Pride is because I'm a federal worker and proud of it. You're probably going to watch this on Tuesday, and keep me in mind on Tuesdays. Thank you very much.